Tragic events, murders, and hauntings are hugely inspiring to television producers and filmmakers, and of course there's something about them that we love too. Otherwise these films wouldn't see the success they do. The Amityville Horror is one of those movies which is loosely based on fact. Ronald DeFeo Jr. killed his father, his mother, and his 4 siblings in 1974 New York. Who was this man, and what's the truth behind the Amityville murders and the haunting? Ronald DeFeo Jr. Ronald DeFeo Jr. had a rough start. His family, to outsiders, was pretty normal. Dad worked at a Buick dealership and Mom stayed home with the 5 kids. Ronald Butch DeFeo Jr. was the oldest of those kids. Ronald DeFeo Jr.'s father had a temper. He was successful as a car salesman, but that was in large part because of his domineering, overpowering demeanor. He frequently fought with his wife and was known to frequently lash out at his kids as well. Ronald DeFeo Jr. was overweight, so in addition to his troubles at home, he was frequently picked on at school, an unhappy kid all around. He began to lash out at those around him, including his father. Obviously, his parents became concerned. Butch DeFeo's family did take him in for psychological evaluation and to speak to counselors, but that didn't work, and instead they resorted to offering incentives for good behavior. Unfortunately, the young man used the cash for less than ideal investments. He began to use heroin. Ultimately, Butch was expelled from school. However, his parents were still determined that rewards would cure the boy. He was given a position at the Buick dealership. His father paid him weekly regardless of whether he showed up for work. Of course, the paycheck went to buy more heroin. It also bought a few guns and began to act strangely. Ronald Butch DeFeo Jr. and his father. Ronald DeFeo Jr.'s relationship with his father was strained. The two just didn't get along. Ronald Sr. was overpowering and haughty, yet seemed to be clueless as to how to raise his children. His son took advantage of this. He continued to take his father's money, and when that wasn't enough, began to embezzle money from the Buick dealership. He began to use his guns too. He threatened one friend with a rifle on a hunting trip, then he attempted to shoot his father. Ronald Sr. and his wife were in an argument, and Ronald DeFeo Jr. pulled a shotgun on him. Despite the fact that Butch pulled the trigger, the gun didn't fire. Shortly after that incident, the Buick dealership caught on to DeFeo's embezzlement. The police came to question DeFeo at work, and the man was very unhappy, to say the least. At that point, he threatened to kill his father. No one believed him, though. The DeFeo murders. It wasn't long after that everyone believed him. On November 13, 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. killed his entire family. The man had accumulated an arsenal of guns, using the stipend from his father and the money he'd stolen from the dealership. One of those was a .35 caliber Marlin rifle. He used that rifle to kill his mother, his father, and his 2 brothers and his 2 sisters. After killing his parents and his siblings at point-blank range, DeFeo showered, got dressed, and went to work. Of course, DeFeo Sr. didn't show up for work that day. Ronald DeFeo Jr. called home, pretending he was concerned about his father's absence. There was obviously no answer, and DeFeo Jr. continued on with his workday as normal. It wasn't until 6 o'clock that evening that Robert DeFeo Jr. called a friend, telling that friend his home had been broken into and that his family were all killed in their beds. The friend called the police, who arrived at the DeFeo home. The DeFeo family were all found face down in their beds, shot to death. Police questioned DeFeo as he was the only surviving family member, but the man claimed he couldn't sleep and had left for work early that morning. He even went so far as to accuse the mafia of killing his family. After further investigations, police began to suspect that DeFeo had something to do with the murders of his family members. The man had initially been in protective custody, but police began to find clues indicating he wasn't as innocent as he claimed. For instance, they discovered a box for a brand new .35 caliber rifle. DeFeo was ultimately arrested, tried, and convicted for the murders of Ronald, Louise, Dawn, Allison, Mark, and John Matthew DeFeo. He was sentenced to 6 consecutive and concurrent terms of 25 years to life. In the years that have followed, the DeFeo murders have served as fuel for both those searching for facts and those creating fiction. In 1977, Jay Anson wrote the novel The Amityville Horror, a true story, an account of the Lutz family. The Lutz lived at the house on Ocean Drive for less than a year, during which time they claimed to have experienced paranormal events. They said the spirits which haunted them were those of the DeFeo family. As you're likely aware, a movie was made from this book in 1979, called The Amityville Horror. Subsequent movies have been made, including Amityville 2 and the original remake in 2006. Over the years, the truth about the Amityville haunting has come to light. For more information about the house on Ocean Drive and Lutz family who participated in the rumors of the haunting, visit the guide to the Amityville Horror at enfieldhaunting.com. Ronald DeFeo is currently held at the Civilian Correctional Facility in Fallsburg, New York. Each of his appeals to the parole board for release have been turned down.